Good morning. You are hiking with Jenny. It is day 23. I just left the Groundhog Creek shelter and I am already, right off the bat, I am on a Ascent. And I'm actually not too upset about that because it is a very cold morning and it helped me warm up very quickly. But we are going to be climbing a lot today, probably a good chunk of the first half of today, because we are going up to Max Patch. So that's exciting. We should have some nice views today. I'm sure it'll be pretty cold up there, but it'll be nice to see anyway. And we're doing 13 miles today to the Walnut Shelter. So I know a lot of people who are also camping there tonight. We had a great group of people last night, had a fire. I was like kind of worried, like after I took my zero, that everyone was gonna be ahead of me and there'd be new people there I wouldn't know. But I knew everybody. I don't know how cold it got last night, but I imagine it was something in the 20s because when I got out of my hammock, it was 27, and now it's reading 29, so it's slowly warming up. But I stayed really warm in my hammock. It was just like getting out, doing camp chores, and, you know, touching ice cold water with my hands, and, you know, that's where it was pretty cold. I ended up getting out my hot hands, cracking them out for the first time, and I've got them in my gloves right now because my fingers were frozen this morning. Fingers and toes. This is probably the smallest my pack has been, with the exception of when I was slack packing, because I'm pretty much wearing, or at least I was wearing, pretty much all of my clothes. I've got 2 pairs of pants on. I've got like 3 shirts on, got my hats on. I was wearing my puffy and my rain jacket earlier, but I took those off because climbing up I got warmed up pretty fast. I mentioned in the last video how I sent home some extra winter gear, namely my booties and my fleece buff, and I was like, this is going to be the true test if I regret sending those home, and still don't regret it. When I got in my hammock, my feet were cold, and what I ended up doing, like, I took my socks off and I just kind of like warmed them with my body heat and the quilt, and warmed the socks too at the same time. And then once my feet were warm enough, I put the socks on, and that was perfect. So didn't miss the booties. And for the fleece buff, I just went to bed with my fleece on. This thing like cinches around you, so it's the same idea. It kind of like can go over your face. So I just did that, and that helped a lot. So before I left for the trail, I had bought AWOL's AT guide, the package with the physical copy and the PDF. So I have the PDF on my phone, and I gave the physical copy to Brian. So he's been following along as I hike, and so it's now gotten to the point where he can kind of predict where I'm camping that night based on the mileage I'm doing, and so I thought that was pretty cool. And if you don't know what AWOL's AT guide is, it's a guidebook that shows like all the shelters and the elevation, all the towns and all the services in the towns and everything. Far Out is really good for when you're on the trail, and then if you're kind of planning ahead, like town stops and stuff. I found that the AT guide is useful for that. But the author of that book is, I'm reading his like book about his AT journey as well. Starting the 3.5 mile climb up to Max Patch. This is such a beautiful walk. It kind of reminds me of Hadrian's Wall path last summer when you were kind of up on those hills with views all around. And it's just like fields and fields. I wasn't expecting this to be so vast. Well, it finally happened. I lost the trail. I was wondering how long it would happen before I got lost. I don't know. I thought I was following the trail. Like, look how like well worn this is. But then I was seeing signs for like Buckeye Trail. And I was like, oh, better check just in case. Looked at the map. I wasn't on the track. So I'm just backtracking until I can find it. Up here's where I got turned around. So I saw that blaze. So I was like, oh, well that must mean I would have been coming from this direction. But no, it is actually down here. And I was checking the far out comments and looks like I'm not the only one that made that mistake. I'm gonna stop here real quick for lunch. A couple cool things I found at Ingles. I got these Smart Bowl barley and beans with tuna, and it's got some good macronutrients in it. And then I found these little mini tortilla bowls, and it just makes it so much easier to eat this. Just leaving the Roaring Fork shelter. Had a nice lunch break there. And continuing on, I think I have another 4.8 miles to get to camp. Something I've been thinking about in talking to people who are hiking together, and how like sometimes your plans don't really match up with people. Like someone said, like, you know, I really wanted to zero in Hot Springs, but my family didn't want to do that, so that means I can't. So I've been thinking about that a lot, and how I really don't want, that was kind of something that I was trying to avoid with this through hike. Like, yeah, it's great to have people to hike near and with, but if their plans don't match up with my plans, you know, and I'm gonna have to miss things that I was really looking forward to doing, then I'm gonna do the thing that I wanted to do. I'm kind of glad that it's sort of worked out the way that it did, even though, like, obviously I'm sad that, you know, I'm not going to be able to hike with 2020 anymore because he's like way faster. But like, my body wasn't going to be able to do that. And even if I somehow was, like, I would just be completely destroyed every day trying to keep up. And I don't want to be like in pain and miserable the entire time. I want to actually like take my time and enjoy the journey. I feel like a lot of people kind of treat it like it's a race, and I don't want that to be my experience. I want to go at the pace that I'm comfortable and like the time frame I'm comfortable. I actually took a longer than I expected lunch break there. I think it was like somewhere around 45 minutes, but I really needed to eat, and I'm glad that I did, because like this morning I was kind of like rushed to like get going because it was so cold, so I didn't like wash my face or anything. So now that I've stopped, I was able to do that and just take care of some little things that I had skipped. Now I feel much better and ready for the rest of this hike. It's still been very cold and windy. Even though like the temperature says 50, it feels colder. I think it's because of the wind. Last little ascent to camp, 1.3 miles. Should be getting there by about 6 o'clock. I just passed the shelter and it was full and didn't know anybody there. So I think I'm gonna move on and try and see what I can find for a stealth spot or something, because I'm not feeling it. I feel like moving on. I'm thinking about pushing 1 more mile to Phil's Gap. It looked like there was a lot of room for tents and hammocks, and there's water I can grab before that. So that seems like probably the best bet. Got my water. Now on to find camp. So I ended up hiking 2 miles beyond where I was intending to camp tonight, but that makes tomorrow even easier. So I only have 10.7 miles to go tomorrow to get to where I'm staying in Hot Springs. So, and it looks like it's mostly downhill. So it should be a good, easy day tomorrow. And then I'll be able to get into town early enough to get a lot done. So I'm pretty happy about that. I am camped at like an unofficial campsite, but there's a lot of people here. It's very windy and cold, so I just kind of got everything done as fast as I could and got in my hammock. But I am staying pretty warm in here because it's only, I think it was like 35 when I checked the thermometer before I got in, and it's about probably 10 degrees warmer in here right now, so I feel pretty warm. Pretty good day. I feel good. Not much else to report. Thank you for watching, and happy trails.